The Department of Fisheries cracks down on the invasive lionfish, and the lobster fishery season comes to a close in Saint Lucia. I am Amanda-Faye Clarke, and this is Agriculture in Focus. More straight ahead. Good day and welcome. The Department of Fisheries cracks down on the invasive lionfish, this time through a culling initiative on the northwest coast. In this program, Agriculture in Focus speaks with Elena Joseph, the fisheries biologist responsible for the island's lionfish task force, who says her department's ongoing efforts to control the population of lionfish in our waters comes at a time when much discourse on preserving marine biodiversity is tantamount to sustaining small agricultural economies globally. In Saint Lucia, maintaining our island's rich marine biodiversity not only spells success for our fisheries subsector, but it also safeguards the livelihoods of those involved in the industry and sustains and adds value to our tourism product. It is for this reason, Ms. Joseph maintains, this latest control initiative, facilitated under the theme Remove One, Save Many, is timely, as reports of lionfish sightings around the island have become more frequent. Join me now in welcoming Elena Joseph to Agriculture in Focus.
Well, culling is an activity that's conducted worldwide. It's a measure that is used to control populations, to keep them at a level that is easily managed. Now, with the recent invasion of the lionfish in Saint Lucia, we've been receiving reports that when you go diving, you realize that there are populations of 10s and 20s in groups. So we've realized that the population has grown significantly. A culling was called in terms of getting stakeholders involved, like our dive operators and fishers, together with the Department of Fisheries. We decided to put together a culling activity. So on the 1st of February, the Diver Association, which included Eastern Caribbean divers and Sandals dive operators, together with 2 fishers from the communities of Ansere and Grosile, and the Department of Fisheries embarked on a culling activity which involved the killing or capture of lionfish. So we did it at 2 sites within the area of Ansere, and we captured a total of about 40 lionfish, after which we had a cookout where we involved the seafood vendors of Grosile, so persons could then experience what the lionfish tastes like, because persons are of the misconception that the lionfish is poisonous. And we want to dispel that. Once the venomous spines are removed, the lionfish can be consumed safely. So
the mission itself was capturing lionfish in an attempt to control the population. Would you say that a catch of 40 was sufficient to have done that in the area of Grosile?
Not in the area of Grosile. We did 2 sites in the area of Ansere, so that would include Usgalet, around the Usgalet area. Now, based on the population that was at the time, 40 between the 2 was a reasonable number, but you would appreciate that with time, the population will continue to grow because you have reproduction taking place. So the idea is to have a culling at least twice a month or every month. So then we choose sites randomly, we go to those sites and we capture lionfish. You would then appreciate that this activity is something that has to be ongoing. It's not a one-off. You have to do it very periodically, very often, so as you could maintain that population.
And you would appreciate that with the rate of reproduction of the lionfish, that it would probably need some more than twice a month intervention. So would that activity be coordinated by the Department of Fisheries? Would the onus now be on the fishers in the various communities to go ahead and to spear fish and these things, hunt down the lionfish in the water?
Well, the culling was more or less like an initiation. So just to get the divers and the fishers, more comfortable in knowing that they could go down, catch a lionfish and cook it. I mean, you do have reports of fishers capturing the lionfish in their pots and your spear fishers, but we want them to have that more or less organize the project and come together as groups and call a day and let's go catch lionfish. So this was more of an initiation in terms of having those groups of persons involved in that one activity. And as you rightly said, it's something that we would like the Dive Association fishers to take on upon their own to initiate such activities, and not only the Department of Fisheries initiating those activities.
preservation of our marine biodiversity. And what projects or what initiatives are being undertaken apart from the culling activity where the lionfish is concerned? Any other things on stream?
We recently received funding from the World Bank to undertake a coral reef rehabilitation project exercise, sort of. The general idea behind this project was to identify alternative dive sites around Saint Lucia, because currently you have most of the dive sites are located within the Esmemi along the western side of Saint Lucia, and with Thomas and other negative impacts on the coral reef habitats, the quality of those coral reefs have degraded over time. And then you coupled with that, you have guests and divers coming in ever so often to experience the coral reef diving. So what we want to do now is do an assessment of the area as it is now, to assess its health and what have you, and also to identify alternative or other sites around Saint Lucia. So then you could pretty much, quote unquote, give those coral reefs a break to recover, what have you, while the activity can still be taking place around the island.
That initiative would be similar to that of the closed season for lobster fisheries and so.
Pretty much
alternative.
Yes, alternate sites. You could still have dives occurring in those sites, but not as in terms of the capacity of divers or dives taking place there. So you could just have a few dives, but around Saint Lucia as well.
That's a great initiative.
Yeah.
Another question on this is, have you, the Department of Fisheries, located these alternative dive sites?
Not as yet. We initiated trying to map out dive sites that we know with the help of the Dive Association, dive operators, because they're in the water more frequent than we are, and they're familiar with the dive sites that they use. So with their help, we have attempted to map out those areas.
And these would fall along the east coast, or you're trying to establish new sites along the west coast?
We're not too sure if we're gonna expand, could be island wide, or we're just gonna focus on the east, the west coast. Well, north, west and south coast of Saint Lucia, because you can appreciate the east coast is pretty rough seas and it's not really conducive for diving, but you could explore that option. So right now we're just identifying dive sites or potential dive sites that we know of, as well as the different dive operators.
Lionfish Task Force is mandated this year to focus heavily on public awareness. How would this whole initiative take forward this year?
Okay, we decided to focus on public awareness with the newly invasive species of the lionfish being invading Saint Lucia last year. So we're trying to focus on building that awareness throughout the public. This is the last year of the project, on its final year. So we want to kind of end it in a bang, in a sense that once the public is aware of the lionfish, what they need to do and what have you, we're pretty much seeing something more sustainable as opposed to just it being within the remit of the project. Okay, so the public could then take on different initiatives, activities to help manage lionfish population. So we're focusing on a lot of awareness in schools, engaging the public a little more, the seafood vendors in terms of how to prepare the lionfish from capture, because you have a lot of those communities being along the coast of Saint Lucia. So the fishers now are aware of how to capture and handle the fish, and from the consumer's end you have the vendors preparing the fish for consumption.
Monthly, the Agri-Enterprise Unit, they're hosting a farmers market at ITY Rottenmead Marina. Are you aware of that? Do you think that your Department of Fisheries, that is exploiting all avenues to really reach out to the public, sensitizing them on the lionfish itself? Do you think that perhaps you could set up at the farmers market or take advantage of the poisson activity, and there's some other activities taking place around the island, I mean on a weekly basis? Do you think that you could tap into these events to raise the awareness?
We have planned out in terms of a list of activities, trying to squeeze in the concept of lionfish, not only because of an invasive species, but in terms of biodiversity health, because you realize that the lionfish is an invasive species, as much as it's biodiversity, but it impacts on the diversity of fish species that we have here in Saint Lucia. So we try to squeeze in the concept of lionfish and its management at every opportunity that we get. For example, the Saint Lucia Fish Marketing Corporation is undertaking a mini, quote-unquote, quote-unquote personal activity. So at that festival, we would be introducing lionfish in terms of preparing the fish for consumption. For Fishermen's Feast, Denry has expressed their interest to have a lionfish exhibition at their festival, just in terms of educating the public of the invasion as well as eating the lionfish. So we have planned out in terms of the different events that are happening around Saint Lucia and see where we could feature the lionfish. Journée Creole is coming up. We could take it on there. We're not too sure in what communities Journée Creole will be happening, but with that capacity building in those different seafood festival communities, you could have lionfish.
Yes, I was actually thinking on a Friday and Saturday night, Rosalie, Denry, and Ansbury have activities as well. Ansbury and Rosalie on a Friday, Denry on a Saturday, and we could, have a stall in place. So just sell it, just sample it or something, so that we could get people more, the palates more tuned out, like you say. It sounds very poetic. But, get people tasting the lionfish so that they are actually interested in purchasing the lionfish when it does come on the market. So.
Because there's this seafood vendor, Conrad Charles from Grosley. I was quite surprised when he said that he actually goes down and cleans the lionfish, and he sells the lionfish. And he's a well-known guy in Grosley preparing the lobby and the different seafoods, and he has incorporated or included lionfish as part of his menu for persons to enjoy. So people are slowly but surely getting into the groove. Okay, this fish is like any other fish. You could prepare it and eat
it's not poisonous.
No,
it's a very delectable fish. It's like the snapper. I heard some people make relation to it, saying it's almost like it's as fleshy as, is it barracuda?
The dolphin fish.
It's really tasty once you get the recipes on board, and so there could be a market for the lionfish, right? And it moves us down to the close of the lobster season. So can you just give us your final words on it? Tell us about how the season went, if there were challenges in terms of having the season open, or if anyone took advantage, or what goes on now?
Well, the open season, I can't really speak in terms of infractions. The open season, because the season is still open. This is open until the 28th of February is the closed season for lobster. So no one is allowed to have lobster during that period. Okay, not if they were to have in their possession, they need to declare it to the Department of Fisheries, saying, okay, I was unable to sell all my lobster during the open season. I have a certain quantity of lobster left. So then we could track in terms of the usage. If anyone's caught with lobster in their possession, the minimum fine is $5,000, and it covers both having in your possession. If that lobster has eggs, it's another $5,000. If it's sped, it's another $5,000. If it's undersized, meaning that it's under 9.5 centimeters, it's an additional $5,000. So you get fined for each offense.
So an individual could rack up easily a $20,000
fine for one lobster.
Wow. But by and large, the reception and the respect given to the open season,
it has increased, because you find people even before the open season in August, persons who are calling well in advance to know when is the open season, what they need to look out for, what tools they need to measure the lobster, those sorts. So you found people seeking clarification, information in terms of fishery. We have realized, because we embarked on a public awareness in terms of the fishery in Saint Lucia, having PSAs aired and what have you. So we hope that through this, persons are now conscious and more receptive to the laws and regulations governing the fishery, because it's a highly priced and valued fishery.
It's been a pleasure having on this Agriculture in Focus.
The IGY Rodney Bay Marina and the Department of Agriculture presents Farmers Market, staged on the boardwalk at the Rodney Bay Marina. It's the third Saturday of every month. Farmers Market offers you, the public, an array of agro products produced right here in Saint Lucia. See Sanumem, show your support, and get all your local agro products at Farmers Market on the boardwalk at the Marina. It's the third Saturday of every month.
This has been Agriculture in Focus for today. Agriculture in Focus is a production of the Ministry of Agriculture, Food Production, Fisheries, and Rural Development. Until next time, I am Amanda-Faye Clarke. Thanks for listening.